Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum. I'm Mark Marquette. So glad that you've joined us to stay curious. We broadcast live every Monday through Friday inside our fabulous studio that is in the American Space Museum in downtown Titusville, Florida. And I am pushing a couple buttons here because we've got Najma here helping us, and it looks like we did go live, Najma. Great. Good job there, lady. We've got Matthew Raj is off today, and so's Marty Winkle. He had to take care of some personal business, but we've got a great show for you today. Two awesome birthdays. If you're a space geek, you know it's Charlie Duke's 90th birthday. And we're going to talk about Charlie in a personal way. Met him a few times. We've got Kathy Sullivan, and she's our artifact here in the Space Museum. And we're going to talk about should it stay or should it go, OV-103, which of course is the orbiter Discovery. And off to my left over here, bring him on, sit here in just a few minutes, is Eric Baker, test project engineer for a decade or so on the orbiters. He wrote a opinion piece in the letters of the editor that was published in Aviation Week and Space Technology. And we're going to share that as well as what some senators are trying to lobby to make Discovery stay where, well, I've seen it. It looks beautiful there. I can't imagine more people would see it in Houston than in Washington, D.C. But we're going to have Eric on here and talk about that here in just a few minutes. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Good afternoon, Gary Gerald. How you doing, my friend? Great to see you. And Dave Stangy's saying hello to the Stay Curious family. And we've happily created this fellowship of people that love to talk about space every day. And if you miss an episode, we have over 1,000 of them racked up on our YouTube channel that, thanks to you, is pushing over 4,000 people are following us on YouTube, and we're making a little bit of jack off of that for our nonprofit. So keep it up. Of course, I'm here at the Peninsula. Right there's where we're at, Najma, right across the big little horn there of the Space Center, in a beautiful photo taken on a crystal clear day, it looks like there. So, well, let's remind everybody that part of what we do at the American Space Museum is promote education to youth of all ages. Our bilingual STEAM Saturdays have done great for the first year with our volunteer Natalia Sepulveda. We've had a generous contribution from the NASA Alumni League. Gave us a nice check that we can buy some things to educate about 15 kids a session. The next one will be October 11th, next Saturday, where Natalia is going to talk about the Spanish language in space. And Natalia was a Ron McNair scholarship winner. And that's how she got her master's degree in Spanish. And that's her in the middle there holding that Falcon 9 rocket. So if you're local, go hit that QR code or go to our website and sign up for our bilingual STEAM Saturdays. And we're going to be doing some parking lot stargazing as part of this fall and winter also. Here's our lineup for today. We got a couple birthdays. We're going to talk about Wally, everybody's favorite astronaut, Wally Schirra. His Mercury 8 flight, Sigma 7, was on this date he spent 6 days in space, actually. I'm sorry, not 6 days, 6 orbits. I wish it was 6 days. But he had a great mission and a great guy. We're going to look at some Wally stuff. And sleeping bag, oh yeah, we got a sleeping bag to show you that Nicole Stott, that's why she's in the picture there with our birthday astronauts. Should it stay or should it go to Houston, that is, OV-103. And you could weigh in on that and take a straw poll there. Naj, you see how you can raise to see you have comments there? You see in there? So anyway, don't worry about a thing over there. We're chugging along good there, Naj. Our sponsor today is NASA Manned Space, okay? Manned Space is a Facebook page pioneered by our friend Mitch Rothman and his wife Paula, and we'll see a picture of them here in a minute. And we are grateful partners. As Mitch is like many of us here at the American Space Museum, we love the heritage of the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo programs. Okay, there's their Facebook page. No, that's their YouTube channel, where they have a lot of movies that they put up on there. And there's the Facebook page of NASA Manned Space. Like them, share them, just like you do us. Wait, make that bigger. There we go. I was straining Steve Jokum's eyes there to see that. There's their YouTube channel, and they have all kinds of Apollo, Gemini, and Mercury related things that they can share because they're NASA property. So they welcome new members. They try to stay true to the early programs before the shuttle. But that's okay. The shuttle's okay, Mitch Rothman says, as he embraces our Shuttle Fest. In fact, Mitch and his wife Paula are going to sponsor an astronaut at our Shuttle Fest, which is a $2,000 commitment. Okay, if you want a special treatment, VIP with an astronaut, and sponsor them, help us bring them there, it's going to be $2,000 at Shuttle Fest to do that. So, there is Mitch and Paula with Joanne Morgan at Shuttle Fest 4, our fundraising Friday night here. What an engaging lady she was. She's the only woman in the launch control of Apollo 11, surrounded by 350 men, and she had the full support of Rocco Petrone, launch director at the time, and Debus, the center director. All of the big shots knew that this woman could do her job, and that's why she was sitting in the control room. And but what a legacy, what a story. Mitch and Paula, thank you so much for your contributions to the American Space Museum. And Mitch and Paula have helped us raise over $1,200 to the renovation of our gift shop that we've been talking about for a while, but we're going to do it right. And when you see it done, it's going to be done right. So thank you, Paula, Mitch, Rothman, for your support. Go out there and become a new member of Manned Space, as they are our sponsor of the day here on Stay Curious. Well, let's get into the Mercury Project. I'm going to show you our artifact of the day here at one of the birthdays, okay? But Project Mercury was something in 1960. These astronauts were introduced to the world, and that we honor them with our Mercury and Atlas and Gemini Titan gallery there, that you see so many one-of-a-kind things that we showed off the other day. In the upper right-hand corner is one of the fixtures of there was in the ceiling, where Mission Control Center was outside, where it was a wood meatball outside of the original Mission Control. Where was that near? Pad 14 or Pad 6? All right, I was asking Eric over there. But come visit us. Wally Schirra launched in space 63 years ago. Had his turn at the controls of the Mercury spaceship during his 9-hour flight, launched October 3rd, 1962. It was the third of 4 orbital missions in the Mercury program. It was an exceptional flight. Wally did most of the flying. None of this chimp mode of automatic controls from the ground. That's what the astronauts called the automatic controls, was chimp mode, as two, Enos was the chimp that flew 2 orbits around the Earth, but Ham gets all the love as being the first suborbital flight primate. A fun-loving astronaut who was quite a prankster. He was pranked by an inside joke that I'll tell you about here in a minute. Okay. On his second flight, the cool Wally endured the launch shutdown of Gemini 6 with rookie Tom Stafford that roared into space. And then, of course, Schirra commanded the 1968 important Apollo 7 10-day shakedown of the new mothership around the Earth. He became the first human to visit space 3 times. There he is getting out of the capsule after his 3 hours orbiting the Earth. What other picture have I got? Oh, the heat shield there. There's the heat shield of it there. Somebody tell me where this Mercury capsule is. Is it the Uvar-Hazy? I'm not going to conjecture, and I didn't look it up. So somebody help me out there, and who can Google it first, okay? Where is the Sigma 7 Mercury 8 spacecraft? Um, Lovable Wally was a sidekick for CBS News anchor Walter Cronkite during the Apollo moon missions, wiping a tear on air after listening to the successful landing of Apollo 11's Eagle. He died 8 years ago at age 84 and never got to meet him. We will have some great stories about Wally Schirra on a week from Monday, which brings us to the 13th, I believe. Yep. No, the 11th. I'm looking up there. A week from Monday when we're going to have Nick Thomas here to tell the stories there. So where is this spaceship at? Who can tell me? I don't see anybody popping up there with it. Their thumbs are going all over their computer trying to figure that out. But I'll tell you a story. Sigma 7 is in front of the Redstone hanging at the Heroes and Legends Kennedy Center. Yes, it is. Yeah, yes, it is. They that's the one that people lose their minds over. Thank you for reminding me of that. They put up Wally's in front of a Redstone rock in front of an Atlas. They didn't attach it, and they note it right there because the family did a stink over it when they put that. Wally himself did too. So, but that's where it's at. Thank you guys for verifying that. It was the wrong rocket, but they do say they're doing it for demonstration purposes, as he wrote an Atlas rocket. Very good, boys. Thank you so much there. Wally's got an official website too there. Well, the story is a fun-loving astronaut was quite a prankster. And there was an inside joke among aviators, test pilots, that when you were asked, "Are you a turtle?" your response was, "You bet your sweet ass I am." And if you didn't, you'd have to buy a round of drinks for all who heard. And if you didn't say that, then you'd have to buy a round of drinks for all heard this exchange. Well, fun-loving Capcom Deke Slayton said to Wally, orbiting the Earth, "Are you a turtle?" And Wally uttered the reply into his voice recorder, not broadcasting it live on the radio. But the proper response was, "You bet your sweet ass I am," or you had to buy everyone a round of drinks. It was within earshot. And we have that up there on the Mercury side of our gallery. Turtles are bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, fearless, and unafraid folk with a fighter pilot attitude. They think clean, have a lot of fun, and recognize that you never get any place worthwhile in life unless you stick your neck out. Okay. So what about it? Are you a turtle, Dave Stange? Carlton Bailey, are you a turtle? How about you, Steve Jokums? Are you a turtle? I can hear their response. Thanks, guys, for doing it there. Yep, we got Wally died in 2017, 2007 there, Tom Celentano, age 84. We have Wally's handprints in several places. We have him in 3 places, out at Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo. These are the ones out at the Mercury monuments that are so important to us. When I look up the book that the man who harvested most of these, our godfather Charlie Mars, there's Marley's harvesting the handprints, he called it. He didn't harvest the early Mercury guys. He came in on it with the Gemini guys, and that was done by another group here at the museum. So he didn't include that in there. And we'll see some more handprints there. But there's Wally's handprints. I put my hands on them. Not much smaller than mine. Some astronauts are real small. Others are about, I'm a 5'10", just a normal Joe all the way around. So Wally's hands pretty much were about the size of my hands. Well, let's get into some happy birthdays there going on this beautiful day before we bring on our set here, Eric Baker, and talk about Discovery OV-103. Should it stay or should it go? Happy birthday to Kathy Sullivan. She is 74 years old today. Born in Paterson, New Jersey, October 3rd, 1951. A 1969 graduate of William Taft High School in Woodland Hills, District of Los Angeles, California. So again, born in New Jersey, Paterson, but grew up in Los Angeles area. A veteran of 3 space flights totaling 22 days, she is just one of 8 people in 2020 to visit the Challenger deep in a submersible spacecraft. She's the only person to orbit the Earth and then visit the deepest point in Earth's oceans. That's because she's an oceanographer. In fact, she was the Undersecretary of Commerce for Oceans and Atmosphere and administrator of the National Oceanic Administration in 2014. Okay, so she was appointed in the Biden administration. President Biden appointed her, I believe. No, that had been President Obama. 2014. I get my politics mixed up. But nonetheless, she chaired this important Ocean and Atmospheric Administration. There's her beautiful picture of that. There she is in space. Okay, she was in space in the month of October on 41G with Sally Ride. First time 2 women had ever been in space before in 1984. And we have her handprints. Okay, her handprints were harvested out at the Charlie wrote, after several attempts to arrange a meeting, we agreed on an event Kathy was attending in Tampa. Jack Weekland and I drove over there with all the fixings to make the handprints, including a video camera in case we could get her to do a recording, which they say they did in the car, but it doesn't say anything about where that video recording is. I've never seen it. So I'll be looking for that one day, okay, in there. And these are my notes for you, Eric, right here. And did I give you the notes that I got to read off of?
No.
They're right there on my keyboards, looks like. As I show you.
This is.
Yeah. Doggone it. I may have to go off. Oh, I have them. I have them here. But that I will need. That I will need too. So here are the handprints, and they're heavy. Oh my gosh, they're really heavy. This is a. Here they are. That is very taxing for me to hold as an old man. The back of them are like this. Okay, and everybody. This was a clay mixture that they pounded their hands into. Let me get that. And they pounded their hands into that, because this is my artifact of the day, that's in the museum, okay? And I'll have to weigh these things, but damn, that weighs every bit of 40 pounds.
Well, it's bronze.
Maybe 30 pounds. Bronze, indeed. I think I saw they cost about $1,500 to make at the time. So there you are, Kathy Sullivan. Someday I'd like to photograph you like Eileen Collins holding her handprints over there. But this is who we are as the American Space Museum, founded by these beautiful monuments that have handprints of over 30 astronauts in them. However, few people like the shuttle, most of them are here inside the museum in some place in there. So thank you. Hi, Cliffy. Cliff Watson's watching us there. Hey, guys, how you doing? How's everything on a Saturday morning down there, down under, as you're finally thawing out, Cliffy, from a rainy winter, he told me. There's Kathy. Happy 64th birthday, did I say, to her? 60. 70. Yes, 70. Yeah, of course, 74. She was born in 1951. All right, just a few ticks older than me. So good for her. And happy birthday again with our astronaut pin to this guy. I've had the privilege to meet him. If you have, I'll bet you think he's really a fun guy to be around, and he is. Here he is with Casper behind him. Apollo 16 command module, Casper, beautifully displayed like a diamond in at the U.S. Rocket and Space Center in Huntsville, Alabama. You know, I go crazy when I think about how beautifully that's displayed. It's got a mirror above it and below it, and all these lights, and it's encased, and it's something else. But Duke, let me tell you something you might not know about Charlie Duke. Everybody's loving his 90th birthday. Excuse me there, but born in Charlotte, North Carolina, October 3rd, 1935, the 10th person of 12 to walk on the moon on Apollo 16 in April 1972. He had an identical twin brother. Did you know that, Eric?
I did not.
Yep.
How do we know which one went to the moon?
There you go. He practiced medicine in their hometown of Lancaster, South Carolina, all right, outside of Charlotte. And his brother died 14 years ago. One of the 12 Apollo moonwalkers, Duke, is one of the 4 still alive. You got Buzz, who's 95, David Scott's 92, and Harrison Schmitt is 90. And Harrison Schmitt was born in July. So Duke is just a couple months younger than Schmitt. Schmidt's in great shape. They all 4 seem to be in good shape, but the only one out there hustling the Apollo story is Charlie Duke. Now, that's unfair to Mr. Harrison. He is out there. I mean, Schmitt, Harrison Schmitt, who I've met Schmitt several times also. He likes talking to academia because he's a geologist, and that's why he went to the moon. And he's also a senator from New Mexico, so he probably does a few government things. But the guy out there, the only one talking much on a constant basis, is Charlie Duke. There he is in his Apollo garb. You can always tell an authentic Apollo suit because it has a red ring about it here. Let me bring Eric in here as I'm over there talking to you, buddy. Let's bring Eric Baker in here for a few more pictures of Charlie Duke. Eric, great to see you, my friend.
Howdy.
Good to see you. Eric is a docent here on Friday, and when we're not busy, he's developing a couple of programs for us. He's been on 4 or 5 times. You got your badge on there from the Kennedy Space Center docent. That they don't allow you to use that anymore, do they?
No, nope.
Anyway, you ever met Charlie Duke?
I do not believe so.
Okay.
I've briefly met Buzz when he was walking by at one of the last shuttle launches.
Okay. Yeah. He was shorter than I thought he would be. Buzz, of course, you're a tall man yourself. There's one of the most famous pictures of the Apollo era is Charlie Duke on the edge of the crater there with the lunar module behind there. Of course, he went with everybody's astronaut John Young, and yep, I got a nice little selfie with him there. Don't take many selfies of astronauts anymore, right? That's kind of like they're business people in a way. Yeah. But I didn't want to turn that down, and this was an event that Grumman had that Marty Winkle helped do it, and there we have his handprints out there, and his were harvested at the Kennedy Visitors Complex when he was doing a talk out there. So there's our 3rd set of handprints that we have on display to show you. Wally Schirra, Kathy Sullivan, and there's Charlie Dukes out there. And Marty got to talk to him one-on-one and ask him some questions at a cocktail party at Zarella's. And there they are chit-chatting away. So we got a picture of them together there. See, and just always a great time at Zarella's there. Those of you may know that Duke was the Capcom on the Apollo 11 landing. He's the one that got flustered saying Roger, tranquility on with his Carolina drawl. He said, Roger, tranquility, we copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot. And what a moment in history that was at about 4:30 in the afternoon on Sunday, July 20th, 1969. You remember the moon landing?
I was in basic training in the Air Force in San Antonio.
Really?
Oh yes,
I didn't know you're older than me.
and yeah, I was. I'll be 75 on the 19th.
All right. Well, you're well preserved
Yeah,
there. Keep doing what you're doing.
but
But yeah, you remember it. How'd they let you watch that?
well, normally you don't get to. There's no TV for people in basic training, but we were in one of the fancier new barracks in San Antonio, and it actually had a little room with a TV in it. And because it was the moon landing, they let us stay up late enough and watch it live on TV.
Wow. Well, this was the 10th. He's the youngest, the 10th of 12 up there. There he is at Space Fest, I believe in 2021. You guys have been there with Nicole Stott, sandwiched by our birthday mates here today. And these are, I've never met Kathy Sullivan, but I understand that she is very out there also doing a lot of good things on there. And anything else about Charlie Duke? Became a big born again Christian in 1978, wrote a book that his temper, ego, and single minded devotion to work and greed had ruined his relationship with his wife and his children. And his marriage teetered on divorce in the late 60s and 70s. And he saw the light, and his wife actually is in the foreground of this picture with Marty there. She's the lady with the white hair turned there, and he's always with her. So he made his amends, and he's got a Charlie Duke website, charlieduke.com, and he's active in prison ministry, Eric. So God bless him on that. I enlarged that picture there a little bit there. See them big smiles, and because Nicole Stott, great friend of our museum, loaned us her sleeping bag that she slept in for 90 days on Expedition 20 and 21 at the International Space Station. Also left of the case, it's under, this is under construction case there, is two pair of shoes she gave us. The top are the bicycle shoes that got cleats in them that go into the pedals, and then here's her shoes, Asics, that she wore on the treadmill up there, and she's going to send us pictures of those. Najma's running the board today. She'll be sending us pictures of them probably when I get in touch with her next, Naj. We'll figure out. But we're putting this together. This is our women's gallery, our Karen Conklin Women's Gallery. These are some of the women of the 83 that have been in space. A little profile of each one of them.
But why do they use sleeping bags?
Okay.
You don't need a mattress in space because you're floating.
That's right.
It's got to keep you from bouncing around in your cubicle, so you just put yourself in a bag.
And we're going to create a cubicle on the one side of this with a quilted looking fabric that was vogue on the International Space Station now. And maybe have a mirror there, a toothbrush. It'll give me a chance to actively recruit things from lady astronauts that have been flown in space. Maybe a bar of soap, something that they, how they clean their hair. They had something that they put in it that they wiped off. So this is really a cool, I'll show you some more details of this as we get this exhibit up and running better. But we got pictures of Nikki around there, a picture of another astronaut using this in there. And good job to our team here to get this up quickly, as Nicole gave this to us a couple weeks ago. Carlton Bailey's saying that, let's look at those shoes there. Well, there's Nicole. Carlton Bailey is saying that he met Kathy Sullivan once and had a couple one-on-ones with Charlie. And that, like, Nicole seems like family. So thank you. All watching today in your comments there. Yeah, Harrison Schmidt is a very nice guy. Don't want to leave you out, Tommy Usiak. There's our beautiful Hasselblad remote camera system set up there. I found a little bit of foliage to go around there. Kind of makes it look like it's out there near the pad, doesn't it?
Yep.
In there. And of course, Tom and Mark Usiak use this Hasselblad to photograph the photos on the wall there. It's still a little bit of a work in progress, but we're happy to be How many museums do you think have got a remote camera system worth about $3,000 to $5,000 hanging out?
Probably not very many, especially one that was used.
That's right. That's what we separates us from everybody there, Eric.
Now,
Is
the
having
the
things
little
like-
yellow box underneath is quite important.
Yeah, tell us what that is.
Well, basically, those are remote sites, and so to turn the cameras on, they either use sound or vibration to activate the cameras once the launch has started. So you don't want it to like run through all of its film while it's for like a scheduled T0 and then have it not go then. So they use remote activation, and that's, I believe, a little sound meter in that yellow box.
Yep, Radio Shack stuff. I wanted to go back here with our birthdays because Jim McDade had a great comment. He was there when this picture was taken. Jim McDade, our friend in Huntsville there. And Jim, you're happy to send me pictures of some of the fabulous displays there. We'd love to share them. And I'd like to know if that 90-some-year-old guy that worked on the lunar rover is still around. I got a picture of him with they actually had lunar rover driver's licenses.
Oh, cool.
There. But Jim McDade, a good friend of our museum there. And when Charlie was reading, I wondered about this shot. I'm going like, I bet there's 20 photographers standing around and a film crew and probably a radio guy. But I love that display. It is just gorgeous. Charlie Duke, what a great person you are to continually share your experience on the moon. 90 years old. And he's got to start getting long in the tooth and going to give it up one day. So, all right. Well, we've got Mr. Eric Baker sitting beside me here because of this beautiful spaceship. And I'll make sure nobody jumps on me when I say there's 39 mission patches surrounding the orbiter there. And two of the most important missions in the history of the 30 years of the shuttle. STS-26 launched in October. No, it was launched in September, actually. And STS-114 both returned to flights. You have a big connection to this orbiter. Just let everybody that doesn't watch our program consistently, what you're very attached to OV-103.
Well, I was the test project engineer vehicle lead for 103 for about 15 years.
Just 15 years you were responsible for this ship.
As a matter of fact, if you look at this picture, that picture in the center of the orbiter, nose on, that's hanging in Firing Room 4 right now as a part of 5 pictures of each of the space orbiters.
Uh-huh.
And in our museum, we have the original one of those pictures because that's actually Velcroed to that larger picture, and we have signatures on the back from the 103 team.
We do. We'll feature that on another day you're on here.
But
I haven't pulled that out as an artifact of the day. I should have done that today, but I got on a sleeping bag kick because we hadn't shown that. Yes, go ahead.
But anyway, so one of my tasks was to put together like the engineering briefing for the flight crew for all the 103 flights. I think one of my very first ones, I got to launch John Glenn into orbit on his second mission on STS-95.
That's right. Got a good comment here from Fred Kilner. Eric, he wants to know, where is my Radio Shack free battery card? And getting rid of the tube checking machine was a mistake. I was fascinated with that tube checking machine too. Those under 40, a lot of electronic equipment, including our TVs that were like a piece of furniture.
7-Eleven's always had a tube checking machine.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
One of our engineers, Greg Weber, had acquired one of those and was in his garage for many years.
So there you are, Tommy Usiak. He said, nice to have met Eric last Friday. So yes, you were on last Friday there, my friend, and so glad that I hope you like the flowers we picked up here. Those were actually in Karen Conklin's office, and I looked at those and I said, you know, those I wanted to put something around there, and I think that works out good. Um, I may have a my, what if we put a little alligator underneath there?
Well, if you've ever seen some of the pictures from the shuttle era, where it's just a still photo of the vehicle at the pad, sometimes there will be a bald eagle, like sitting on a branch,
Uh-huh.
except for the fact that the bald eagle is stuffed, and it lives normally at the Merritt Island Wildlife Refuge headquarters on the way to Playa Linda Beach.
Uh-huh.
And we were in there one time, and they were telling us about that the photographer will take the eagle out and put it and get it in a shot with the space shuttle.
Oh, I'll look for
So
that.
you gotta be careful.
I have seen
That- this-
alligators.
This was before AI.
Yeah, but way before AI. Yes, so that reminds me, we're gonna have Mike Leinbach talk on one day to talk about uh, the bird, how they kept away with the
Yeah.
birds. We know about the birds. There was actually a bird call out in your launch sequence at about 2 minutes till launch. Do you remember that being in there? That there was
I do not know.
He said Charlie
Yeah.
Charlie Blackwell Thompson was the bird coordinator at launches. She looked at radar,
Okay.
and at like 2 minutes, she said birds are go.
Okay.
There was actually so that
I know we
no flocks of birds would be going over
Yeah.
to get hit, like sometimes happens with aircraft.
We did launch one space shuttle with a small bat attached
Yes.
to the external tank.
And one that a turkey vulture hit, Mike said. That had it hit on the other side of the orbiter could have been more problems than not. But we'll have Mike Leinbach on. He launched 31 shuttles, so he might be of interest for you to stay curious with someday. All right. Love these end of the program posters that they did. There is what we're going to talk about. Should it stay or should it go from Udvar-Hazy to Johnson Space Center? And we're going to get to the article that you wrote here in just a minute. And there's so you can read it there. We've got there it is. I've seen it. Thank you, Marty Winkle, for taking us there. This case here on the left front is where the white room suit of Travis Thompson is. There is Udvar-Hazy from the air. Okay, thought I'd show you a little bit. What a facility. You ever been there?
Yes, I have. I went on a pilgrimage to see my orbiter.
Okay. And
They didn't. It had only been there for a little bit, and so it didn't have a lot of the stuff that's around it. But it's in the James McDonald annex, which is the part sticking out to the back there of the main building.
Oh, okay. So
built.
it's the T off there in the back is where it's at. Okay.
Yeah, it's in the.
This is an amazing museum, of course. Just so much history there. I really like the Black Hawk, the jet, not the Black Hawk.
Blackbird.
Blackbird. I mean, the Blackbird there, flown by Jim Halsell, astronaut, is on his name there. I love seeing the Blackbird. That's about there's one at the Cosmosphere too, and you can touch the nose of it. And like St. Peter's foot in the Vatican, it's worn, you know.
They have several at the Air Force Museum, National Museum in Dayton.
Okay, but to see the discovery there, you know how much it costs? Nothing, zero. It costs zero. Okay, so that's just one argument. If they take it to Johnson Space Center to see it, you're gonna have to pay the ticket to get inside Johnson Space Center, which Kennedy Space Center is $75. I don't know what they charge at Johnson Space Center.
Yeah, I do not know
so
that.
there's something right off the bat. You can see it free. It's in Washington, D.C. Who has more tourists go to it, Houston or Washington, D.C.? That's why it was chosen to be there in the first place.
Well, the Smithsonian gets first pick. So the Smithsonian is called America's Attic,
Okay.
and it's where all the significant things go for display in the various museums. And the Smithsonian is not actually, it's a trust. It's not actually part of any of the branches of government. And it does have a federal budget, but it does not belong to the government. It belongs to the people as part of the Smithsonian Trust.
Okay, great information there. And the Smithsonian also has the title, like your car title. They got the title to the
I have a
doggone
copy
thing.
of that.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, bring it in.
Yeah.
We'll share that because this story's not going to go away for over a year. We can talk about this because whatever happens, okay, if it has to be moved, the date is. Well, we'll get to the politics of it, but the date is January 4th, 2027. They have 18 months to move it since this bill is enacted, which was part of the President Trump's, I want to get it right for you politicos out there, the One Big Beautiful Act bill, championed by President Donald Trump, is why we're in this mess. Well, just thought I'd show you an orbiter, which is Challenger, over Johnson Space Center. That's where they would want to take it, of course.
Well, this picture right here is basically as close as an orbiter ever gets to JSC.
Yeah.
Part of the one of the things that when Senator Cruz was talking about, he said they wanted to bring the orbiter home. Orbiters were never home. The closest they ever got.
Houston was never home to an orbiter.
No. They stopped every once in a while at the old Ellington Field to gas up if they couldn't get directly from California to Florida due to headwinds. But so they were never at home at JSC.
Okay, and that's a point that you're going to make in your letter to the editor to Aviation Week and Space Technology. So that is Orbiter Challenger. Take a little wave. They probably got the employees out there and say, see that up there? This is as close as you're going to get to it. Because it had to be a real privilege to get out there to the Kennedy Space Center, I'm sure. Here's the beautiful photograph of it. It is awesome. It seems to me at ground level a lot bigger. I mean, Atlantis looks gigantic, and I've not seen Endeavour and can't wait to see the new Endeavour. But boy, when it's on the ground, it looks huge. And the TDRS, Tracking Data Relay Station, is above it, which is really cool because it deployed several of them. But I'll show you some other pictures. But let's get to the politics of this thing. This is former NASA astronaut turned U.S. Senator from Arizona, Mark Kelly, who 2 of his 4 missions, including this one, was inside of Discovery as its commander. And he has joined fellow Democrat Senators Mark Warner and Tim Kaine, both of Virginia, and Dick Durbin of Illinois, to try to halt the move of the Space Shuttle Discovery to Houston as enacted into law earlier this year. Kelly had 2 of his 4 missions on Discovery, and he said this, Eric, quote, "Why should hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars be spent just to jeopardize a piece of American history that's already protected and on display?" He put this on his social media post. Kelly did right there. He goes on to say Space Shuttle Discovery belongs at Smithsonian, where millions of people, including students and veterans, go to see it for free.
And they would have to damage it in order to get it to Houston. I mean, when I say damage, they would have to disassemble it it would have to take the wings off at least.
Why is that?
Well, the 747s that flew them around, they're no longer, flight worthy. One of them is on display at JSC with a simulated orbiter on it.
Mm-hmm.
Johnson Space Center is the land of simulators. They trained the astronauts. They did an excellent job, but they didn't build them. They didn't launch them.
They didn't take care of them
They did
like you
not.
did, like you did in the shuttle garage.
They have one of the most important orbiters for the entire space program there. It's called OV-95, and it was the Shuttle Avionics Integration Laboratory, an electrical mechanical replica of the orbiter that allowed them to verify the flight software for each mission. And that's part of their tour right now.
Uh, yeah, it is. I actually saw it there a few years ago. The and we're going to have you read your letter here in just a second. Kelly and his three colleagues cautioned that any effort to transfer the winged orbiter would, quote, waste taxpayers' dollars, risk permanent damage to the shuttle, and mean fewer visitors would be able to visit it. And the senators all say it's worth noting there's little evidence of a broad public demand for such a move. All right. Now, this was all came about by Republican Senators John Cornyn and Ted Cruz of Texas to remove Discovery from its 13-year home at the National Air and Space Museum Stephen Udvar-Hazy Center in Chantilly, Virginia, and put it on display in Houston. Cornyn and Cruz claimed the decision to place Discovery at the Smithsonian was a snub to Houston, which is the home of astronauts, mission control, and a primary training site. The something they yeah, okay, fine, and like you've given them a lot of love that they have trained the astronauts expertly. You know what they do have that nobody else has and will never has is 900 pounds of moon rock. Okay, laying there. Maybe 100 pounds of it's been disseminated around the world. But one of the things I really thought was cool is they have a simulated lunar receiving lab. They got 3 gigantic moon rocks that look like about a football on simulated situations of testing them. If they're going to get Discovery, let's start breaking out the moon rocks, and let's get a moon rock in every school in America, type of thing. All right, give them all a little sliver of it. That's what I say. Well, these Republican senators successfully had it added to the language of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act championed by President Ford, which enabled acting NASA Director Sean Duffy to then identify Discovery for relocation. The provision calls for $85 million to be made available to transport and display the shuttle in Houston.
Except for the fact that the government doesn't actually own it right now.
Yeah, it's like me trying to sell your car.
Yeah.
Or move your car. I might sell it, but boy, am I going to get in a bunch of trouble when you find out about it. And they try to clear the title. Here, the Smithsonian estimate of this move, Eric, is $50 million to transport it by barge, maybe around Florida, okay, through the Gulf.
That's the only way to keep it remotely intact would be by barge, because that's how they got the Enterprise up to New York.
Also, the New Orleans World's Fair or something had a mock-up there. Enterprise, I think, went over there for something, and I've seen pictures of that. But yeah, they've done it. Enterprise is up on the aircraft carrier. Intrepid, yeah, up there. And Smithsonian estimates another $328 million needed for planning, exhibit reconstruction, and new facilities, dedicating hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars to move an artifact that's already housed, displayed, and preserved in a world-class facility is both inefficient and unjustifiable, is the Senate arguments. So, under the terms of the Act, NASA has until January 4th, 2027, 18 months after the bill's enactment, to transfer Discovery to Space Center Houston. And you know what? I can smell some lawyers being involved with this. How about you?
That's a very good possibility.
Lawyers all they need to do is stall it for about a year. Well, this is the pages of that you were on, the Aviation Week and Space Technology, September 15th through 18th edition there. Here is your words that you put out there that they published. Eric, why don't you share those words with us now, sir?
Well, I can read that.
Please do, in your clear outdoor voice.
In response to the misguided Texas senators attempting to lay claim to the Space Shuttle Discovery OV-103, none of the orbiter vehicles ever had a home at Johnson Space Center. The orbiters were all assembled in California from segments constructed by companies across America. All space shuttle launchers were from Kennedy Space Center in Florida. I had the privilege of spending my entire engineering career at KSC on the shuttle program as an electronics engineer. For 15 years, I was the OV-103 lead test project engineer and was proud to loan my orbiter to the astronaut flight crews. And we believe this, as the people that worked on them day to day, that they were our orbiters. Taxpayer money from across America paid for them, but they lived at KSC and they were ours. 103 was the orbiter with the most flights, including both return to flight missions, and I was proud that it was selected as the orbiter to go to the Smithsonian. JSC should be proud of its role in the shuttle program, but it was never home to the orbiters.
Well said, Eric. Well said there. And did you all catch it there that Eric loaned his orbiter to the astronaut flight crews? And I love that possession of it there. That you weren't the only space worker that felt like that. Everybody felt,
That was a sentiment that was shared by just about everybody at KSC.
In Mike Leinbach's great book with Jonathan Ward, Bringing Columbia Home, which is the definitive story that you need to read about that, you clearly get the impression that the 8th crew member was Columbia, OV 102. Yeah, that she was just as much of important to bring home as the remains of the crew. So, what do you all think about Eric's comments there? On there, we've got everybody. Cliff Watson totally agrees. Leave it where it is, and the Steve Jokums apparently looked up that the minimum ticket at Houston Space Center is $40. Okay, so still going to cost you more than a lunch to go see the doggone thing. So here's a couple pictures I took when I was there at it. Gosh, Atlantis looks the coolest up in space like that. But when you're on ground level, you can walk up pretty close to it.
Yeah.
And the thing that impressed me the most that I've never seen was the attachments to the external tank underneath there. And boy, you really see those in good detail. They ought to put mirrors on the floor there so you can look down and see them in there. But Terry White did a couple programs on those, and you don't think about cameras that are in there to capture the ET going away. Just so complicated and sophisticated, and they have to be covered up for reentry.
Yes, and the two doors that are hinged, plus the umbilicals there, they have to retract to give the doors room to go into those cavities properly. And there's two little latches that unlock and pivot to release the doors so they can be closed on orbit.
That's the doors right there. Right there's the two doors that cover that.
And there's two latches that basically hold down the outer edges of the doors as they sit under the orbiter.
Well, thank you, Eric, for adding to today's program with and congratulations on getting placed in there. Have you had other letters of the editor published before?
Not as good as this. I've had a couple published in the Florida Today. I helped explain folks who were getting real excited when at the end of 1999, that it wasn't the beginning of the new century, because the year 2000 is the last year of the 20th century.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to wait till the end of December 2000 before you switch to
Mm-hmm.
the 21st century.
There you go. A little confusing, not to confuse you with some math, but yeah, Charlie Duke is actually beginning his 91st orbit around the moon. So why don't we say you're 91? Because you got to complete the orbit
Well,
to be the
in
full.
the
He's
in the
fully
calendar,
completed 90 years.
you know, the calendar we use did not start at year 0.
Correct.
So we started with year 1, and so
There you
it
go.
throws everything off.
We'll do a show on astronomy show on the calendar how it's all messed up, depending on what king wanted to collect some extra rent ahead of time there. So thank you, Eric, for enhancing today's show. Got to show you the last launch of STS-133 there with Nicole Stott on board there, coincidentally, Discovery's last mission, and just a gorgeous picture of it in orbit. Just I love these type of photographs. The inspection by the ISS of the underbelly and so forth. But what a gorgeous picture that is of any orbiter. And Eric was on a week ago to talk about the eyes of the orbiter, or the two
Part of the
mods in the back there. Eric did a great show with us on modifications of the orbiter. Eric, what other program you going to put together for us? We've been working.
Well, we're
probably do it in 2 parts too.
We were basically working on firing room protocol. You know, day to day, what were we doing in the firing room when we're not launching them? Because we spent several months with the orbiter in the hangar. We spent about a week in the vehicle assembly building, and we spent about a month at the pad on any given flow. And the programs we're working on is all about those schedules, from the day-to-day, week-to-week, the entire flow, and then, of course, the very last important schedule, launch countdown.
What those schedules look like? How were they taken up? It was a manual nightmare for some people to keep up with that.
This was before, spreadsheets and, pie graphs. This was, before computers. It was
no Excel spreadsheets and stuff like that on there. It was all typed out.
It was magnetical.
Magnetical, you say?
Yes, indeed.
Well, stay curious about that, as we'll have. Don't know if we'll get that together for next week, but we're gonna.
That's what it's scheduled for.
Okay, we'll schedule you up for next week then. Just tell me what I need to do, and we might break it up in 2 parts there. So we're gonna have Eric back again. So it's a Friday. I love ending our Fridays that we can with who's orbiting Earth. Okay, how many people are orbiting Earth, Eric? At this very moment, how many Earthlings are off of this planet?
Normally it's 6, unless we've got a change-out crew, which bumps it up to 9. But
no, that's not right.
No,
We've got these vehicles parked at the International Space Station. We've got 4 cargo ships. 3 cargo ships.
Well, I thought you meant bodies.
Bodies. How many bodies are there? All right, 3 went up on MS-47 on a Soyuz spacecraft, and 4 went up on the Crew Dragon 11. So we have 7 on the International Space Station. 3 Americans, 3 Russians, and 1 Japanese, and we've got 4, count them 4, Cargo Dragon CRS-20 or 33, which is called. I wanted to say that's named after William McCool, and Cygnus 23. No, Cygnus 23 is named after William McCool. Cargo Dragon doesn't have a name. Progress 92 and 93 are Russian cargo ships. They'll be getting rid of those in a minute. 10 humans orbiting Earth. Can't forget the 3 Chinese tachionauts up there. Somebody's correcting us.
Well, that was Marty calling in when I just turned him off.
Okay.
I'll get back to him.
10 humans orbiting Earth on this moment. It's going to start switching out as the Chinese are going to switch out their 3 astronauts, and MS-27 is going to be switched out here within the next month. So, but the Crew 11 may stay up there till February. And what phase is the moon in? Okay, well, the moon is indeed, it was first quarter, it was I think it's 10 days old moon. Okay, I forgot to look that up. So it's between 7 and 12, it's going to be gibbous, but 10-day-old moon tells you the moon is up in the sky like a pizza pie up there, bright. So go out and get you some moonshine this weekend. And we have overhead that's going to be a little washed out by the moonlight is the Milky Way. And everyone goes, Mark, they were talking about the Milky Way in June. Yeah, but you had to stay up till midnight to see it. They're just talking about that it cleared the sky. And actually, Friday, tonight is, or tomorrow is Observe the Moon night, okay? The 13th is the last quarter moon. We have the full moon is on the 7th. Okay. And this is International Observe the Moon night on tomorrow. So if you have an observatory near yourself, maybe they're participating in it. We are not here as we're in a big rainy season situation, though it's not raining now. We're expecting some big rains over the weekend, but I couldn't predict that. We just didn't get anything together to do it. This is a free download at skymaps.com. Go out and get you some starshine and moonshine over this weekend. You won't regret that you did it. So, thank you. You know that moonshine's the kind of moonshine you can't get too much of.
That's right.
Don't get the other out there,
No,
Eric.
that's-
Eric, thank you for coming on board today on Stay Curious, sharing your knowledge. I think it's a resounding no, we're not going to move discovery. Okay, should I stay or should I go, with the Clash playing in the background song of that? No, keep it where it's at. It belongs there. And so thank you all for your comments here today. I noticed Dave Stange said that there's a Black Hawk, that's a helicopter at the Kalamazoo, Michigan Museum in there. And everybody else, well said, Eric, says Tom Musiak. And why can't Eric use his badge anymore? No longer valid for entry? Tell him.
Well,
Steve
this was
Jokins that.
just a identity. This is not a get on base badge. This was just identifying me, how many years I worked on the program to the tourists at the Atlantis exhibit.
Yeah, they got rid of some of the docents that would park and out under the docent and tell your story, and why is a question mark here, because those people were given what, one free pass for every 20 hours you talked.
Yeah. Well, actually,
Big deal.
every 40 hours we got a set of some tickets.
All right, so they're giving you $140 for 40-hour. That's just printing a piece of paper that they know people are going to spend money there. Don't get me started. But that's Delaware North, is a worldwide entertainment company that does manage.
And it was supposedly a NASA decision to stop our docent work.
Of course it was. That's what everybody says. It's a NASA decision until Delaware North wants something done. And then you think that was a NASA decision to put Wally Schirra's Mercury capsule almost attached to a Redstone rocket? I don't know about that. So Steve Jokins is going to get some moonshine in his eye at the Yerkes Observatory tomorrow. I envy that, brother. You enjoy that. Steve and I will also be our minds in Singapore as the Formula One racers are racing around an unreal night track in downtown Singapore. Ooh. So you ought to catch that one day. So Forza Ferrari. We'll see what happens. Thanks again, Eric, for your contribution to Stay Curious. It means a lot, as I think y'all are getting used to this guy like some of our other regulars will be bringing in October. So stay tuned for that, and I hope y'all enjoy a wonderful weekend. Get a little moonlight, get a little starshine, and you have a little fun just hanging out on this globe of ours, rocky Earth, here, third rock from the sun, and we hope that you all enjoy a wonderful fall going on too. So until next week, when we'll set it up again, I'm thanking Najma for helping today. I've got my finger on the trigger here, Najma, for my vocal, and I'll hit the right button to send this out here when I say, I'm Mark Marquette. I'm so happy to see you, and I can't wait to see you again in our museum or on Stay Curious to bridge the space between us. Thank you so much.